Good evening and welcome to Happy Camp Complex public meeting for August 28th. My name is Nathan Judy, Information Officer for California Interagency Incident Management Team 5. This evening you'll hear from members of the management team, emergency management officers, and forest staff. We're going to get started off this evening with Alex McBath. But first we want to make sure that you guys, if you have questions, you put them in the chat. We will answer them after the official meeting. All right, we're going to bring up Alex next.
All right, thank you, Nathan. Good afternoon, Siskiyou County and anybody watching from abroad. I'm Alex McBath, Operations Section Chief for California Team 5. I'm going to go over the current situation on the fires we have out there. Just so everybody knows, we took command of 13 fires on the Klamath National Forest, and I'm going to be walking around those by name, not necessarily by how they're broke out on the fire. So we're going to start on the west side of the zone we're managing, and we're going to start with the Elliott Fire. The Elliott Fire started out as three separate fires, the Three Creeks, the Canyon, and the Elliott, and they have grown together into the Swillop. So 4 fires now are called the Elliott Fire. Down on the Elliott Fire in the south, it is hung up in Dillon Creek. We have been monitoring Dillon Creek. It has not crossed, and we don't expect it to low down by 96. The heat is diminishing daily, and things are looking really well along Dillon Creek. We also additionally have put in some alternate lines that are up what we're calling Sidewinder Road. Those lines have had dozer work on them, and we're now prepping with masticators on both sides. As we come up the east side of the Elliott Fire, it is along and down to the 96 road from Independence Bridge all the way to the north, and is looking a lot better. So over the last few days, we've had a lot of rollout down there and a lot of fire coming down to the road. All that has been contained now, and the rollout should be minimizing daily. So we're expecting traffic to be able to utilize 96 a lot more freely throughout the day and night. As we move up to the 24 road, which is on the north side of the Elliott, that has all been contained within roads and dozer line. And as we move to the south along the north end of the Elliott, we also have contained the very edge of that with roads and dozer line. Contingency line has been prepared along the 24 road all the way up to Bear Peak. That's what we're working towards. And a check line has been completed going down towards Pony Mountain. The following days, we're going to see less and less rollout on 96 and more containment across the north end of the Elliott Fire, as well as potentially this fire right now is clear up in Coon Creek and is within half a mile to a mile of our dozer lines. And so this fire probably, more than likely, when you see the map next time, will be a lot closer to that dozer line. As we move up to the U-Fish and the Malone, both these are on the east side of the Klamath River. Currently, the U-Fish is in some really steep ground, and it has the most potential to grow. Some of the things that we have in place right now is direct or indirect line all the way around the U-Fish on the south and on the north, and the Klamath River on the west side of it. As we go through the next few days, you're going to see fire out towards these containment lines, and our modeling showing that with the weather coming in, the U-Fish should be successfully contained within the next 4 or 5 days. That's if the weather works out and everything goes well up there. On the Malone, we have line around that one also on both the west, south, east, and north side of the Malone. Currently, the fire is down to the south of what's on the map, and fire crews have held it along this dozer line, dropping down into Elk Creek on the south end, and they're being successful tonight. Moving over to the head fire and the Den Fire. So I'll speak to the one furthest north, the Den Fire. That was an initial attack a couple days after we got here. We took command of that, and that one is fully lined and contained. We still are doing tactical patrol, which means we have people out there on the line daily looking at it. The head fire, which has been our highest priority for multiple days now, is looking better and better every day. I'm going to go ahead and start up by the Hamburg area. That fire has line completed to the south of Hamburg, and crews are making their way across the river and have started and constructed line around the head of this fire. It also, on the north end, we've lined the spot up here closer to Horse Creek, and they've constructed line around the east side and have started down the north side direct. In addition to that, we have multiple contingency and alternate lines that are prepped and prepared. Success is looking really good on this in the next coming days. As we move over to the east side of 96, that is all has direct line on it with additional alternate lines in the background, and they're aggressively mopping that up. Coming down off of Collins Bally back down to Scotts Bar, that is lined and everything's looking really good, and it's in mop up and tactical patrol. Around the south end still has a drainage with quite a bit of heat in it, which is right about there. And that drainage is being actively worked with crews, and we hope to, in the next coming days with the better weather, get line around that. So overall, the head fire is looking good. Down on the Townsend fire, that has been lined and is mopped up, and now we're just tactically patrolling it. And down on the Scott and Gold, which were two fires that combined, we have line around that fire, and it is in mop up and patrol. All the way to the south, down in the Marble Mountains, we have the Lake Fire. We have multiple crews on that fire, including jumpers, fire management crews, and a hotshot crew. And it's really, really rocky. You folks know what the Marble Mountains look like. It's steep, tons of rocks. They're finding heat buried in those rocks, and they're aggressively digging those up and getting after them. Containment on the map probably won't be shown quickly in black, just because they are finding so much heat in these rocks, but they have scratch lined around it. So things are looking good on the lake. I do want to talk a little bit about the evacuations and repop. I know everybody is very interested in that. Today you probably saw that we've reduced the warnings and the evacuations. If you aren't aware of that, go to your sheriff's page and take a look at those. Additionally, 96, we've been working really, really hard to get 96 open for folks and citizens of Happy Camp, Wairika, the teachers, and we have piloted traffic through there now. So that was a win for us to get folks access in and out of Happy Camp. And then overall, down on 96, you're going to have periodic closures down around Independence Bridge, and you're going to have periodic closures or traffic control up on 96 going towards Wairika. Overall, we have been aggressively suppressing this fire. We have been strategically moving crews at the appropriate times to gain containment, and it has been working really, really well for us. Our modules and our resources on the fire have increased daily, and we've been utilizing those in the best place where they can provide the most production. So that's your current update for today, and I'll go ahead and pass you to Jeff Shelton, our fire behavior analyst.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Shelton, and I'll be covering your fire weather and fire behavior coming up in the next week. So I want to direct your attention to the matrix here. From a regional perspective, what we have going on right now is a dry cold front that's transitioning the region from the west moving towards the east. This cold front is going to bring us some cooler temperatures and some lowering humidities. As we move past that, when this dry cold front passes, we're going to see the door open for a little more moist cold front, a low pressure system move into the area towards the end of the week. From a perspective of temperatures, we're going to stay in the mid 70s and drop all the way down into the 60s towards the end of the week, as our high temperatures, our relative humidity, which is in the 20s right now, is going to raise up to into the 60s and the 50s as we move into that period. From airflow, which we use quite a bit on our fire as a steering mechanism to understand where that fire wants to move. The direction of the flow right now is from the southwest. So we have air that's moving from the southwest, and as this low pressure transitions into our area, that wind is going to become more westerly and then northwesterly. And what that does is that helps us with our strategy and our tactics of where the fire wants to be steered. One of the things I want to point out to you as well is as that cold front comes in at the end of the week, we start introducing the chance of rain. On Thursday through Friday and into Saturday, we're looking at 30 to 45 and back down to 30% chance of wetting rain in the area. That rain will help us in many different ways, as it did last week when we had all that rain, especially on the the east end of the fire. From a fire behavior perspective, we have a lot of smoke in the area. Smoke from our fires and smoke from fires in the region that's bringing shading to our fires. We're going to add clouds into that equation, and what that will do is it provide a dampening effect, as the sun can't really bake those fuels to get that temperature up. It kind of keeps the wind speeds down, and it's a real good advantage for fire behavior to be dampened. One of the trade-offs of that is air assets are unable to fly typically in that. One of the other things that's interesting is we've been here for over 10 days and we're losing 3 minutes a day of daylight. So since we've been here, we've lost over a half hour of daylight. That's over a half hour of sunshine that the fuels also don't get to get their temperatures up. So as we move towards into September, the days are going to get shorter and the nights are going to get cooler. The fire movement right now is predominantly, with the relative humidity recovery we've had at night, is predominantly through the heavy fuels that retain heat at night. The grass and the brush, with the humidity we had, they kind of struggle to crawl out of that humidity every morning, and then that humidity comes back up at night, and it just pulls the energy out of the fire. So what we expect in the next week is the fire to move from the heaviest material, the deadened down material in burn scars, and the large logs that are on the ground. The one exception to that will be in areas that are favorably aligned. If you have wind and slope aligned with heat, that heat is able to drive off the moisture even in the grass. Or they have to back down a slope, the fire behavior will drop down rather quickly. Overall, the fire's opportunity is going to diminish in the next week, and our opportunity as suppression forces is going to maximize. At this point, I'm going to bring you Kerry Jones. He's our Air Resource Advisor.
Okay, good evening all. Kerry Jones, Air Resource Advisor. I wanted to just highlight a few key messages in our outlook this morning, kind of related to what Jeff was talking about. So we have some important wind changes that are coming in the next 24 hours. We've already discussed that generally our transport direction is going to be shifting kind of from the west and then kind of out of the northwest. That's actually been underway for about the last 12 hours. We've been pushing smoke toward the southeast. We've pushed smoke all the way into like the upper Sacramento Valley, Redding area. They've had some significant impacts. And I think, as Jeff said, it's important to know that there's a lot of fire to the west and northwest. So we're going to be in this kind of northwest to southeast flow regime. It's going to really push smoke again through tonight and through tomorrow morning. So this is not a clearing event by any stretch for the northwest valleys. We're not going to scrub smoke out of places like Happy Camp, Syad Valley, but I'll tell you this, it's the best potential that we've had in over a week. So we're looking at tomorrow afternoon some broad improvement. So I think if you're looking for a target of opportunity in terms of improved conditions, tomorrow afternoon is your day. So keep a look for the forecasts and so forth. So at least here locally with this northwest flow, we've put a lot of smoke into the Shasta Valley, as I said, down into the upper Sacramento area. We're going to see that smoke pretty much hang in through tonight, tomorrow morning, but I think even those areas will eventually get into a improving trend late tomorrow. So I think we've got some opportunity coming up through the day tomorrow to see some improvement. The other thing I wanted to mention is this pattern that we're talking about for late next week. It's a favorable pattern for improved dispersion. So I think overall, if you don't catch a break tomorrow, and there's going to be some winners and losers with this shift. As I said, this is not a classic clearing event that we look for. Hope is coming for the end of next week. So reach out, our website, contact information, and keep in touch. So I'll introduce now Brian Shinoni, for Director of OES with Siskiyou County.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So this morning, this is kind of how I wanted to start this. This morning I woke up, smoky, cool air, kind of our August, September weather that we're usually so used to. But I want you to also think about, like, as it cools down, and we just heard we're losing 30 minutes of daylight, fire season's not over. So one of the things we need to really think about is maintaining that go bag, having our whatever's accessible, whatever we need. Fires can happen at any moment, as we've seen. And as this one winds down, we want to really make sure that we're ready for the next one. So with that, always bad news on my side. So I do want to thank all of our partners involved on this. So I really want to thank our animal sheltering side of it. So Rescue Ranch and SNP has been amazing partners. American Red Cross, you've seen them around. United Way. So those are some of the things that we're working through with the EOC. So working on that backside, so really helping out those who've been affected by the fire. Our phone number at the EOC, which we'll put in somewhere, and if not, I'll say it again. So that phone's been ringing a lot. It's been going crazy. We've been addressing those needs to the public, and that's what we're here for. So Siskiyou County OES is designed for that. We want to help your needs and whatever you have out there. So if you're seeing things that are not being addressed, call us at the EOC. Most of you have my cell phone number. I know that most of you have my cell phone number because you call me, but those address those needs. That's what we're here for. We're ready to help you. We need to help you. We want to be there for you and address that. So one of the things that we do keep seeing, and we understand as a challenge, is knowing your zone. So know your zone. That's really going to be the key to help you for an evacuation. So we had these snazzy little know your zone with a QR code. And one of the things throughout the sandwich boards that we have out along our trap line is that we have your zone in that area, and then you can snap that with your smartphone. If you do not have that, it does have the web address. You'll also see this one here. So this is all the significant information that you need to stay up to date with all the fires in the area. As we know, Siskiyou County is a plethora of different things that we need to worry about. So we also have debris flows and rock slides and winter storms. So all of those on the Code Reds, Know Your Zone, Siskiyou Sheriff, Siskiyou OES pages, those are going to be on there for you to really understand and see what's going on. So great tools. Make sure you're using those. Make sure we're always updating our PIO, myself. We're updating constantly to have that information. So with that said, I just want to say know your zone. Understand who and what you're looking at. So understand that the social medias of Siskiyou Sheriff and Siskiyou OES are pushing out the up-to-date latest information. And anything such as Watch Duty is a great tool to follow as well, and easy apps to download. So those are our big pushes tonight. With that, I would like to introduce our sheriff, Jeremiah LaRue.
Thank you, Brian. That was a bit intense, but that's okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I appreciate you joining us online, virtually, and then, of course, thank you to the partners that are in the room here with me. Want to reiterate a few things that Brian said about the zone. It's really important that we keep everybody up to date on areas that are being evacuated or put into a warning, and we kind of need your help with that. That way you know where your zone is and you know where your loved one's zones are. So we just ask that you partner with us on that and try to stay updated as much as possible on that. And again, we can't do this successfully without the assistance from you, the public. We want to get you back. That's our main priority, is get you back home safely. There's so many considerations that go into play when we are evacuating folks. And so just know that we have your best interests in mind, and that we know that you're more than just a number. on a spreadsheet somewhere. So we do care about our community and we do love our people. We want to make sure that you get home safely. And there's a lot of considerations, like I mentioned, such as power, road debris, and as Brian mentioned, there's many things that are contributing to some of the issues, which is the debris flows and some strange weather that we've been having in the area. So we just ask that you be patient with us. You guys have been great. You guys have really shown that you're a strong community and that you're willing to work with us. And you've seen the zones decrease, which is really good. So some of the, we made some cuts earlier today and put some orders into warnings, and we're going to keep working towards that. So keep looking at the map and stay tuned with us. And I think hopefully if you're not home yet, we'll get you there as soon as possible. We just have to make sure that it is safe, because we don't want to get you in to the area and then have to pull you back out. Another thing I'll bring up is the smoke. So even if it's a time where you can go back under a warning, or maybe it returns back to completely normal, check out the AQI, which is the crazy numbers that you see that are really high, and just see what the warnings are on that, because we definitely don't want you guys going back to a place that is essentially you're breathing in, ash. The numbers are quite frightening in some areas. We want to make sure that you're safe. So keep an eye on that. And with that, I'd like to introduce Rachel Smith with the Forest Service Administration.
Thank you. I'm Rachel Smith, Forest Supervisor of the Klamath National Forest. Just wanted to start by expressing gratitude. Thank you for all of you who have been with us throughout this. There's been a total of 3, I think now 4 community meetings, and we really appreciate the engagement. Without you, we wouldn't be able to have these great dialogues. Also really appreciate the help as we've had firefighters across the incident. At the height of the incident, we had more than 3,600 folks that were working across the fires on the complex, helping us quickly extinguish these fires. So thank you for being so respectful of the closure areas. We really appreciate it, particularly since we're getting into bow hunting season. I also just wanted to share some appreciation for CAL FIRE. So early on in the incident, CAL FIRE stepped up and took responsibility for the Scott and the Gold fires. Really want to express appreciation. In Siskiyou County, it takes both Forest Service fire personnel and Siskiyou unit of CAL FIRE. Without both agencies working together, we can't be successful, and I'm incredibly grateful for Chief Law's assistance. Next, I wanted to just say thank you. The team, Dustin's incident management team has been fantastic. He's really dug in on some really difficult ground. For those of you who've lived in Siskiyou County for more than a little while, you know that this is steep, rocky, treacherous terrain. And him and the IMT have done just an extraordinary job and had a really great safety report card, taking care of our firefighters, but also taking care of the community. So they've done an extraordinary job, and they're going to be with us for another couple of weeks. So they've agreed to extend in Northern California, and I'm really appreciative of that as well. Finally, just wanted to identify your Klamath National Forest firefighters. In addition to the fires that the team has been working on, the 13 that they've been working on across the incident, they've responded to a reported 26 new fires since the August 15th date began of our fire siege. A number of them have been reported in really difficult to access terrain. In fact, we actually got smoke jumpers into the tightest fire. They jumped the fire just yesterday. So know that all of your local fire personnel, be they CAL FIRE or the Forest Service, are doing everything we can to really quickly put these fires out. Finally, just wanted to mention we're continuing to see a lot of fire activity across the North State. If you look out your window, I know when I'm looking out mine, there's a lot of smoke out there. So please, we encourage our firefighters to keep their head on a swivel. What we mean by that is always be looking around, always be paying attention. If you live up here, please do the same. Look out for your neighbors, look out for your family members, and keep an eye out for the OES warnings, evacuations for other future fire activity as we have the potential to see future fires in the next couple of weeks. So with that, I will turn things over to my partner, Chief Darrell Laws of CAL FIRE.
Thank you, Rachel. Darrell Laws, CAL FIRE Unit Chief, and also the Siskiyou County Fire Warden. So just talk a little bit about CAL FIRE and what we're doing now is that we're transitioning from the Scott fire. We've wrapped that up, and things are looking really good. So we've got some good containment lines. They've been challenged, but they've held for the last few days. And we've really started to downsize and move resources off of the incident. And we'll eventually, tomorrow, we'll turn that incident back over to the team and to the Klamath National Forest. As far as your local CAL FIRE folks that work here in the county, is that we're going to hope to get them a little bit of rest and get ready for the next round if that comes this summer. Like Rachel had said, that we're not out of this yet. It's the end of August. We've got a couple more months of fire season, and we're ready to go in case the need arises. I want to put on my other hat as the Siskiyou County Fire Warden. I want to recognize our local departments. In Siskiyou County, you have 28 local departments, and we rely on them every day. And I want to talk a little bit about volunteerism. Volunteerism is down in Siskiyou County, and we're constantly looking for more firefighters to join the ranks of those local fire departments. So if you are able-bodied and you want to volunteer, I'm encouraging you to reach out to your local community, your local fire department, and join up. We need you. We need you to join up. And look forward to having you out there and helping us out. Last thing I want to talk about is just the incidents themselves. Is the California Interagency Incident Management Team 5 is doing a fantastic job of taking care of these fires. And with the support of the Forest Supervisor Rachel Smith and their continued full suppression of these fires in Siskiyou County, along with us with CAL FIRE, is that we're in agreement that every fire that's not controlled, that's not extinguished, is a threat to our communities. So we want to continue to go out there and put those fires out and take care of them and keep them the smallest footprint as possible. Thank you for your time and have a good evening. And I'll go ahead and introduce our IC from California Interagency Incident Management Team 5, Carlton Joseph.
Thank you, Chief Laws. Just a couple of things I want to throw at you tonight in perspective from a numbers situation. Here in California, we prioritize fires as we do nationally. I want you to know that the Happy Camp Complex is number 2 in California. We're following closely behind the Smith River Complex out on the coast, which is around 70,000 acres, and they're experiencing a number of problems. However, there are a total of 3,400 plus firefighters assigned to this incident, 91 crews, and today 197 engines. So there is a heavy commitment of resources from various agencies, not only the Forest Service and CAL FIRE, but fire agencies from up and down the state who've traveled many a mile to get here. So I do want to speak to the successes we've had here, and as you've heard already, the Unified Command with CAL FIRE has been a tremendous opportunity for us to gain ground. They took a lot of load off us early on in this incident when it was difficult to attain resources. We were able to move folks additional resources to the head fire and gain some ground. Our priorities each and every day are reassessed, and we've been pretty spot on throughout. We've made excellent headway here on the east side of the fire, and we're now turning our attention in a little bit heavier fashion over here on the west. And so there's a great plan in place, as you heard some of the activities that are occurring over there from our operations chief. The burning firing operations here in the Malone and the U-Fish area, the further attention along the 96 down here with the Elliott fire. Our intent here is to protect life and property, and especially the communities that we know have been so fire ravaged in the past several years. We understand that, we're sensitive to that, and we appreciate the input. One of the benefits of the Unified Command here, not only with CAL FIRE, is our daily cooperators meeting. We have established some excellent relationships with all the cooperators, our stakeholders. We've got input from our tribal members. We have input from our timber companies, which is certainly something we've been focusing on, protecting those lands. But the locals have been great. We appreciate the input. We're glad to be here. We've got several days to go. We're working continuously and on a daily basis to improve our plans and do a great job for you. So with that, I'm going to reintroduce Nathan Judy to answer questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlton. Appreciate that. So that concludes our formal portion of the meeting this evening. We have one question. We're going to bring back up Alex McBath, our operations section chief.
All right, so we got one question. Please get any questions you might have, and we'll answer them. So This question has to do with the Scott River Road between Kelsey Creek and Scott Bar. The question is it going to be open by this weekend? So the first thing is it is our goal to have it open by this weekend, but there's more than just the fire team that's involved in that decision. Caltrans, the sheriffs, and other the infrastructure, electricity, they all have to sign off on that. Typically, when something's in an evacuation area, we don't allow. We close the road between that area. The head fire, we have one-way patrol or controlled traffic, and that was to facilitate travel of those folks. And we're feeling really good with what we have down in Scott River. And I do believe you need to keep an eye open on the information because there could be more changes coming here in the next few days if all the cooperators and the team agree. So I think the prognosis is good, but I will not make that guarantee.
All right, thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. So that was the one question we had for operations. I know we do have one question about the Dillon Creek Campground. We're going to get that answer for you, and we'll put it in the chat. I thank you for your attention tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will be rebroadcasting this on Facebook and our YouTube page. So we will have another meeting on Wednesday that'll be virtual, and tomorrow we will be in Happy Camp for an in-person meeting. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great evening.